Good morning, everyone. So today we will start with the running gait into the gait biomechanics. First of all, introduction of the running gait. So what is the difference between walking and running? So basically, into the walking biomechanics as well as the running biomechanics, both this activity, mainly this locomotor activity, which is similar. There is there is less or no certain difference need to be is available, or it is there it is there between the running as well as the walking activities. So mainly there is some certain differences which we can examine during the running activity as well as the walking activity. So in running activity, it will require greater balance as well as the strength and the range of motion than the normal walking, because the why the greater balance is required, because there is a less or absence of the double support phase into the running mechanics. Second, there may be a reduce as we are running, our base of support into the surface, which is reduced because of the running. So it is second is reduced base of support, and the third one, which is the presence of the float periods. So because of these three reason, there may be a need of great balance. There may be a need of the great balance. Second, the percentage of the gait cycle spent in float period will increase as the spent of the running increases. So as the speed of the running which will increase, so the float period of the gait cycle which will be increases. So muscle must be generated the great energy to raise the head, arm and trunk higher than in normal walking, and to balance and support the head, arm and trunk during the gait cycle. So whatever the muscle which are generated during the running as well as the walking, so into the running they will be generate the greater energy, as well as it will also raise the greater energy in compared to head, arm and trunk, in compared to the head, arm and trunk into the normal walking. As well as it also give a balance as well as the support during the gait cycle. This muscle will also give the balance as well as the support into the gait cycle. Second, it will also absorb the more energy to accept and control the weight of the head, arm and trunk. So it will also generate the more energy, as well as it will also absorb the more energy. So for example, in normal level ground walking, the magnitudes of the ground reaction forces at the center of pressure at initial contact are approximately 70% to 80% of the body weight, and rarely above the 120%. So in example, what it mentioned, in normal level ground walking, so when we are walking into the floor or into the normal speed, at that time the ground reaction forces magnitudes are and the center of pressure during the initial contact phase, which are approximately about 70% to 80% of the body weight, and it is rarely above the 120%. So it is about the normal speed walking. So if we are running, so during the running mechanics, the ground reaction force at the during the ground reaction force and the center of pressure, it will reach to the 200% up. So in normal walking, it is below the 120%, and in running it is about the 200% of the body weight, and it will also increase the 250% of the body weight during the running cycle. Second, base of support. So in base of support, there are it will be 2 inch to 4 inch walking. Both feet fall in same line of progression in running. So in running, as we are mainly we will run into the symmetrically, like our feet our knee flexion, our hip flexion, which will be into the symmetrical level during the running. So this is about this कि functional limb varus angle increases to compensate the reduce the base of the support. So whenever we started running, at that time the functional limb means the functional limb means what the limb which is up which is into the up position. So this functional limb, into this functional limb the varus angle which will be increased to and it will compensate the it will also compensate the base of support. Next is joint motion. So in joint motion, during the beginning of the stance phase of running, the hip is about the 45 degree of the flexion at a heel strike position, and it will be extended during the remainder of the stance phase until it will be reached about the 20 degree of the hyperextension just after the toe off. And the hip and then hip will be flexes to reach about 55 degree to 60 degree of flexion in lat swing phase, and hip will be extended slightly about the 45 to 50 degree into the preparation of the heel strike. So mainly first during the stance phase position, the hip joint will be going into the first into the hip flexion position. After that it will be extended. Same into the knee joint, it will be going first into the flexion position, then it will be going into the extension position. So same into the knee joint, it will be about 20 to 40 degree at the heel strike flexion into the heel strike position, and it will be continuous flex about 60 degree after into the loading response position. After that it will be going into the extension position. Into the lat swing phase, knee extension which is about 40 degree into the preparation of heel strike, and the ankle which has greatly increased dorsiflexion, and it will be modestly increase the plantar flexion. So ankle which will be first going into the dorsiflexion position. After that it will be going into the plantar flexion. So there are some difference between running as well as into the walking mechanism. So hip joint, you can see hip joint which is flexion about 55 to 65 degree, where in walking it is about 30 degree. Extension as well as extension is same, about 10 to 20 degree. In walking it is about 20 degree. As well as into the knee joint also, flexion is about 80 to 130 degree, and knee joint which is about 40 to 50 degree. Extension which is 0 to 5 degree, and in knee joint during the walking there may be a 0 degree extension. Ankle joint, the dorsiflexion is about 10 to 30 degree, and in walking dorsiflexion which is about 10 degree, and plantar flexion which is about 20 degree. Next is what are the factors which will be affecting the gait. एज, उसके बाद इंजरी आएगा, उसके बाद एज, जेंडर, assistive devices. So these all are the basic factors which will be affect the gait. So first is age. In children there may be a high center of mass than does the adult. So and walk with a wide base of support which will decrease the single limb support time, as well as shorter step length, as well as slower velocity and higher cadence in comparison with the adult gait. So mainly during the children, means in a smaller age, what happen, they have a higher range of the center of mass than the adult. Second, they will also walk with the wide base of support. They may be a decrease in time with the single limb support. उसके बाद they have a shorter step length as well as a slower velocity because of that, and higher cadence. So the cadence which will be high into the children. Second, Heman and his co-author found that between 19 to 62 years of age, there was a 2.5% to 4.5% decrease into the walking speed for man and female. After the age of 62 years, there was an accelerated decline in normal walking speed, and there may be a 16% to 12% decline into the walking speed in men and women. So first after into the 19 to 60 year there may be a decrease about 2.5 to 4.5, and then उसके बाद after that 62 year it is about 16% to 12% of the chances to decrease the walking speed. Next is gender. The affecting factors next is gender, that we will see into the next video. Thank you.